So I am CTO of myKicks, or Formalytics, and my job is to look to the future for our company's technology. I'm here to talk about my journey to where I am today and a lot of the questions that I had to ask myself and am still figuring out whether it's the right decision or not, and hopefully questioning their own ideas about themselves and their own perspectives of their lives and what really defines leadership and what you need to be someone in tech. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go to the University Open Day and have a look at a few different things, you know. Went to the physics presentation. There was a lot about the weather, there was a lot about clouds, and I was like, I really like physics, but I really like electronics side of physics, and I really like the mechanics side of physics. So someone there said, why don't you go check out the engineering desk? I was like, okay, cool, that sounds like a good idea. You know, went over to the engineering desk, all guys. One of the current students there, who was at the desk, came up to me and said, you're not smart enough for this course. I was like, you don't know me at all. I'm not even from this city. Like, you've never seen me before in my life. And he was like, you know, look around. You're not smart enough for this course. I had looked around. They're all guys. They're all wearing gaming t-shirts, you know. And my mum was with me, and she sort of grabbed me and pulled me away and was like, don't worry, we'll go back, talk to, you know, bio or physics and have a look, or math maybe is for you. And I was like, doing engineering. She was like, what? You know? And I was like, I don't know, tech's pretty fun, and I sort of just want to prove them wrong. So that next year I had signed up for engineering. I was at the engineering class. And at the same time, I'd never touched coding, I'd never touched electronics growing up. And it felt like everyone else had. And it was hard, you know, it was hard to keep fighting, you know, pushing through. And a lot of the times I wanted to quit. A lot of the times you had to do physics for some of our first year electronics papers. And I was like, oh, that looks pretty interesting. Maybe I should go back over to physics side. But I pushed through. And one of the feedback I got was, even though you're obviously asking a lot more questions than everyone else, you're asking the right type of questions. So the next 2 summers, I worked at Google in Sydney with everything you see in the movies, you know, climbing walls, food, pool tables, ping pong, the works, and the most incredible team members. And at the end of my internships, I was constantly told, and I believed it, you were so lucky to get that internship. You know, you were so lucky. And it wasn't until a lecturer sort of told me off a wee bit. He was like, Holly, I see you in the lab, you know, at 10 p.m, knocking on the lab technician's door because you've blown up the power supply again, but you're there late at night, you know, working hard. That's not luck. That's because you put in the time and you know the work. And it's definitely a problem in New Zealand, and I think it's a problem here as well, the ability to talk about yourself in a positive manner, I suppose. Like, how many of you here think that you're a good leader? Why do you think you guys are way more readily able to put your hand up for someone else than yourself? And what do you think the worst thing could happen if you claimed, like, you thought about yourself and you were like, awesome, I'm an alright leader. Like, people do work well with me, you know, I inspire them to do some work. Do you think that would be hard to say that to someone, say in a job interview or in a class presentation? And I think it's important that everyone takes a step back and tries to look at themselves and think of something awesome that they're good at. So that's the sort of thing I think everyone needs to sort of take a look at themselves and say, what are these core traits? Like, it's easy to have a trait, say math. You're like, I got 90% on this test. I'm awesome at it. Look, here's my CV. Look, it says it, and I'm good because it says it there. But I think more importantly, and as that googliness says, you need those softer skills as well, and you need to be aware of your own softer skills and be aware of your weaknesses on your softer skills. I love the variety. I love that I'm making other people's passions better for them. I love that I'm working with a really diverse team and can dabble in a wee bit of everything, compared to a larger company where you'd have a very one area of focus, I suppose. In this area, as a co-founder, I get to see what's happening in business and marketing and technology, of course. So I love the variety as well, and yeah, the team. I think they're relevant now more than ever in many industries, and I think that the STEM area and the industries that really rely on STEM are now needing more skills from outside parties. So something that I talk to the students about is the idea of Googliness. So that's basically that you are a supportive Google employee. You'll not get hired to Google if you don't have this Googliness, which is basically the idea that nobody wants to work with a jerk. Nobody wants to work with someone that they fundamentally will always have a difference with, even if they're the smartest person in the room, you know. So it's those softer skills that are becoming very important, and we'll really see if you get the job or not, you know. I think the pointer now is, or the idea of STEM in itself, is that it's no longer its own industry, I guess. It's no longer you're going in and you're doing that one thing. It's no longer you're going in and only looking at technology. You are continuously looking at different areas. Even if you love business, say, you can go and create some new tech to make business better. Or if you love sports, say, which is what I'm doing, I go in and make sports better. There's so much diversity in tech that when they're picking STEM, they're not only picking STEM, you know, they can take all their loves and incorporate it into STEM.